Hello and welcome to the Method EU podcast. I am Benjamin and I will be presenting today's episode. I am with your host Glauco Donati, which is the founder of the Method EU, a method that works on human components, body, mind, emotions, and body movements. You can learn more by checking our website, themethodeu.com. This podcast revolves around the four pillars of the Method EU: Chinese medicine and shiatsu massage for the body, dynamic hypnosis for the mind, neuro-linguistic programming or NLP for the emotions, and HOM, HOM, harmony of movements for the body movements. And also many other subjects like body language, the origin of the mind, identity, our belief system, nonverbal communication or body language, etc. All this in order to bring awareness to people in search of the truth, on a path of healing, traumas, addiction, etc., or to deepen one's connection to oneself. Hello and welcome to the second episode of the podcast The Method EU. Today we are with our host Glauco Donati and with our guest Anushka. I am presenting, I'm Benjamin, and Anushka has a question for Glauco today to start on the feminine and masculine subject.
Hello everyone. Welcome Glauco.
Hi, welcome
Thanks for
Anushka.
being here. So we're in a very pivotal time right now with the feminine rising into power, but because of the hundreds and thousands of years, let's say, of being the wounded feminine, now we're coming into a place of rising from that. And my question to you is, how can you help the wounded feminine or wounded masculine to come into their power with the method?
When we're talking about wounded, we're talking about the perception that the individual can feel, regardless if it's man or woman. I believe that in terms of unconscious mind, we want the same things. We want feeling of love, freedom, and expression. This is the pillars of the unconscious mind, whether you are a man or you are a woman. Then, of course, the expression of the woman is different than the expression of the man. The role of the woman is different than the role of the man in nature, in pregnancy, in being a mother, being a father. If we want to talk about the wounded feminine and the wounded masculine, we have to talk about the unconscious mind and our ability to feel free and love and express the way we are. Whenever these qualities are impaired, we have a perception, and usually the perception that people have, regardless is feminine or masculine, they feel rejected. They fear being rejected, and that can lead to rejecting the things that this person wants because of the fear of being rejected again. Or they can feel a negative comparison, which is lead to shame, and shame is a consequence of negative comparison, and it can become an inferiority complex. So if somebody feels inferior or feels rejected, they cannot express the way they are. They cannot conquer the things that they want to conquer. Their freedom or the object of the desire, whether it is a person or anything, conquer like a job position, whatever. And the third negative energy that we can experience in childhood, because all these things that I'm saying that we felt that in childhood. So
The wounding?
The wounding, yeah. The perception of being rejected usually goes from 0 to 5 years old. And the negative comparison go to 5, from 5 to 10, when the child goes out of the family and start comparing themselves. Children are pretty nasty in that. And then after 10 years old is the conditioning. Conditioning is very subtle because people, they don't recognize that when somebody is conditioned, because it takes time to install a conditioning. And a conditioning can be of two types, of renounce, so people renounce what they want to do, or obligation. These are the things that obstacles the perception in the unconscious mind of a man, of a woman, to feel free, to conquer their things.
Fears.
Yeah, there are, well, we can put it into a box like fears. I would say there are complexes. Yeah. And the thing is, we should feel comfortable with ourselves to express the way we want. The expression is in the body, but the body can express if the mind feels free. If you feel free to do things, you do that. And otherwise, it's a negative emotion. And we all want to be loved and to love. So freedom, love, and expression are just the three aspects of the same things, regardless if you're a woman or if you're a man. Then from history, what you brought up, the thing from history, it's more of a role, the role of a man, the role of a woman, because the woman is being relegated into the house and looking for children, and maybe don't, they cannot drive, they cannot do many things because the role of a man is different, take over in society. But this is nothing to do with our quality, being a man or being a woman. This is just a role.
But this is what we're going from what has happened recently.
Yeah.
Because before then, it was a totally different role. So the role of the woman would just be to receive, and the role of the man would be to give. And so when we go into the yin yang, so there's still a little bit of this aspect of the female that is still giving, but it's a smaller aspect. And when I say giving, I mean into the energetic entity of the relationship, not to the man himself. But so the repression of the past, whatever we're going to say, 500, 1,000 years, the repression of not being able to be in the power of divinity has caused chaos, where men ruling and basically taking, so being the receiver, the recipient of power, of wealth, of whatever you see power as. This is where the imbalance has taken place. So my question is, through your method, how would we be able to shift it back into balance where we can feel empowered?
I would say with communication, with empathic and effective communication. Okay. And communication opens to awareness of these things, and be aware of the female as being relegated in their role, but also the man, and understanding that the man wants the power because he doesn't have power. You only want what you don't have. So the man feels powerless, so that's why he wants power. And the woman should mediate, because I think that the woman is more powerful than the man in terms of grounding, in the importance in the planet, because the relation with the earth, the woman is stronger than for the man. But this is just a peculiarity. And I would say that in communication, we can be complementary, we can help each other, we can contribute each other, rather than fighting one another to conquer. Because, of course, there are culture, even nowadays, where men can have 4 women's, okay, and the women's cannot have 4 men's. You know, which
I mean,
is
they can. It's just looked
yeah,
down
but
upon.
well, no, you do, you be killed. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant nowadays.
Nowadays, you know, there's a cultural religion. Okay, this is roles stuff, and it's not the natural. It's not a natural disposition of things. You know, if you're talking about our unconscious mind, we are all the same. You should be free to have the life experience that you want. But if you are put into a box just because you are a woman, so you can have you have only one man, and then you have to share this man with other women. But even if you're not happy, you cannot get a divorce. You have no freedom. This is an impact, but this is nothing to do with the way we are built up. This is a role. This is a cultural, and to overcome cultural things, we need to communicate and to become aware of this, and to become more conscious, waking up. And because if we fight, we don't get fighting. People fight for all the reason. Even people, you know, they see there is a war. Okay, the war is a fight, and there are some people they don't want a war, and they will fight the people they do a war. It's still fighting. You know, it's crazy, but we are trapped into a scheme of a mindset. It's a role. Like I differentiate between man and male, woman and female. If you look at natural, in natural, the animals, they only have the emotional aspect. They don't have this differentiation from the unconscious mind and the logical mind. We've been educated. We have, in our mind, we are driven by our value, our principle, our beliefs, and we don't want to change this.
You say we've been educated, but we've been conditioned.
Educated, conditioned, you know, yeah, manipulated.
Correct.
And waking up people that they've been born in such a culture or in such a situation, they grow up, they believe that. Regardless, I don't want to say this is good or this is wrong. This is not natural. It's not the natural law. Natural law is freedom. The nature gives you the freedom. When you are a child, before you've been conditioning from 0 to 5, you're free. That's why the child are happy and they smile and are so joyful, they are full of energy, because they feel free, they feel loved, and they can express the way they want. But then you know, conditioning start, then they have to you know, to change their behavior, to be according to the different culture they are living in, or the different family, whatever, you know.
So in order to be in our natural state, which is joy, which is bliss, how do we decondition the mind, even ourselves, to feel this so that we can come back into the pure essence of who we are?
Yes, I'll do that through non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication is the expression of your unconscious mind, is what you really are, regardless if you are trained in a different way. You may not trust, you not believe your brain. People are disconnected, dissociated, because the mind goes in one direction, the unconscious mind goes in a different direction. So they start dissociating, they split, and they end up ill. They end up with a problem, whether mental or physical, because the energy, you can't stop the energy can accumulate. So studying nonverbal communication, becoming aware of our inner child, our unconscious mind, and becoming aware the interaction of this unconscious mind with the education, the value, the culture, the principle. A principle, I call it not negotiable principle. That means that people can kill and can die for that. They don't want to change. But becoming aware of this and relating to the unconscious mind, our emotional, our freedom to feel free to get what you want and to express the way you are without any complexes and feeling shame.
Like a child does.
Yeah.
I want to get up and dance, I just get up and dance. I'm hungry, I go and eat.
That will free you from all this. Then of course you can take your cultural stuff in order to behave in a society, because of course we need rules. If I drive a car, I need to observe the rules of the road, because I cannot drive a car the way I want, because otherwise it's a chaos. But we need to understand ourselves and then taking back these rules in a different way. That's what I think.
So nonverbal communication, bringing us back to the center of what we need to do, means observing our actions, our thoughts, observing it. And when you say nonverbal communication, you mean that with others, or do you mean, is there a practice that you would suggest to get to that?
Nonverbal communication is always there. It's our body movement. It's our hitching. It's the way we use our body. If you lie, you feel tension and your behavior change, and you know that. Everybody know that. That's nonverbal communication. It's your inner child. Inner child, that means that you still child in there. It really never grow. It's the child within you.
So what would be the practice?
To study that?
Well, to become more into our nonverbal communication essence of being childlike and pure.
The study is to recognize this, to see that people are different, because the same stimuli that I give to a group of people, I have different reaction, because the perception of the reality of every individual is different. But the body language will tell me exactly if they like it, if they don't like it, and what they tell me. There's a lot of information through nonverbal communication.
So nonverbal communication is what your body speaks, your emotions speak, without having to utter a word. So if I dislike something, and I will show it by just walking away, or maybe crossing my arms.
Nonverbal communication, I would say, that's a study. It's the 93% of your communication. Only the 7% is the word that you are using. But even that can be misunderstood. So the 93% is nonverbal communication. It's the way you use your voice, the tone of the voice. If I say, I used to say the example because I like it, the James Bond. James Bond in the movie, that he presents himself and using a particular tone of voice, and they know when they make movie, he say, my name is James Bond. The energy go down, okay, it's assertive. Different if I say, my name is James Bond, with my voice going up. So when you ask somebody to present themselves, they usually use the voice goes up, like when they were 6 years old. My name is Glauco, I do this, I work there, na na na, na na na. It's different, it gives you a different emotivity. That creates a situation, the emotional situation. Because without emotions, you don't understand the reality. You only perceive the reality because there is an emotion linked to the reality. If you take the emotion out, you don't understand anything. You go to see a movie and you don't feel any emotion, you don't even remember. It doesn't exist for you. So emotion is good, and we can create and generate with communication, because sometimes people, they want an outcome, but because they behave in that way, they get an opposite outcome of what they want. This is pretty common.
This is what we've been doing.
Yeah.
We've been going around and around in circle.
And this is why people make war in the planet, I believe, because it's this non-verbal communication.
Like, we want peace.
Yeah.
War.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, because non-verbal communication, we have to understand that we are different. What you like, I may hate what you like. So you can push that. But if you see that I don't like what you are talking to me, what you're saying to me, or maybe it's because of you, maybe because the tone of the voice, maybe the topics, but my body will tell you in real time that something goes wrong. You stop, you change, you adapt. You don't force. Like if you wanted to communicate with somebody, you need to observe and try to communicate. If they don't understand, you have to rephrase things in a way they understand, especially if they are kids. But usually we want other people understand us. We want our kids understand us.
Even without words sometimes,
yeah,
we just
repeat,
expect.
we repeat. So in nonverbal communication, there are different types of nonverbal communication. They come into play all together. So to study, we put it in a separate, separate types of nonverbal communication. So you have the channels or nonverbal communication, which are four, like the proxemic. If I talk at this distance, or if I come closer to you, you feel more tension. Like if you are in a cinema, you go to a cinema, there's nobody there, just you. You sit down, I come, instead of sitting somewhere else, I just sit next to you.
Oof.
Wow, you get, that's non-verbal communication. But different if the cinema is crowded and I sit next to you, you can take it. So it depends. So this is the proxemics. Then you have the kinesic, the way I move my body, and that's pretty important. Then there is the voice, the paralinguistic, the way I use my voice, and the touching. Touching is pretty strong. You don't want to be touched. It depends where, who with,
Right.
So, and this is just one. Then you have the modeling of NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, and that's pretty interesting too. And then you have...
Can you go a little bit into NLP just...
okay, the big differentiation in NLP is the visual, auditive, and kinesthetic. So this is the way we perceive the reality. You perceive the reality through your sense organs. Nowadays, the majority of people are visual because everything, computer, our life. But if you go back in history, they were more kinesthetic. If you live in a jungle, you're gonna be more kinesthetic. Right. You're gonna smell. You're gonna feel. Your
surroundings.
You're gonna the surrounding. But anyway, we still have all these characteristics. The thing is, if you are an auditive, you're gonna be more logical. You're going to choose that car, that pair of shoes, that dress, that house for your logic, because it's as a reason. If you are visual, you just choose things because you like them. And if you are kinesthetic, because it makes you feel good. So 3 different planets.
Okay.
And then you have the symbolism, which I use to do hypnosis, and that's pretty tough, pretty interesting, and deep, because it works on the parental modeling. So your first symbols, this word symbols can be misunderstood. The meaning that I give to the word symbols is something or somebody that hook you. That's a symbol. It's not just a draw that doesn't represent. It's anything that is related to your emotivity, that you need to buy a car. You don't have a car or a mobile phone, or you fall in love with a person. At the beginning, a lot of energy, like you look the car in internet, and then you have a lot of energy. Then finally you buy it, and then your energy settle, and after 1 year you may want to change the car. You don't want this car anymore.
That's the human conditioning.
Yes,
of
that's
putting so much energy into something that we want to acquire, whether it be a car, a house, a mate, and then once we have it, the human conditioning mind, the monkey mind, just kind of like, okay, well, maybe it's time for something else, because it's no more exciting. It's not something exciting.
This is a natural process, but we can get to a point that we can still enjoy the things that we have. Because I use this word symbols. This is a symbol that hook you, and then each symbols want to be conquered by you, and then you want to destroy the symbol. Because when you only desire what you don't have, so you work towards your goal. When you have it, you possess it, and as soon as you possess it, you enjoy it, and then when you possess it too much, you don't want it anymore. So you're going to destroy it.
That's the case with most of what's going on in divorces and families.
That goes along.
It's like,
But this is lack of awareness,
right.
because there is a cycle. So if you want to enjoy a person and not getting bored, you shouldn't give 100% of possession. If I desire you 90% and I don't have you, I have you only 10%, I desire you, I fall in love, I have a pathos, I write a poem, then I possess you, I enjoy, and then you there all the time, you just, there's no mystery, no novelty, I know exactly everything, and then I have total possess of you, then I possess you 100%, that means that I don't desire you. So you end up in my bed and I don't desire you. Before, I was, looking for. So that's the formula of the happiness. It's to possess 70% and keep desiring 30%. So in the relationship, you should deny yourself for 30%. Don't give out everything, because then when somebody possesses you,
There's nothing left.
there's nothing left. I have, you want to desire, you want to conquer things, but you cannot conquer a person. A person is not something that you can define. If you define a person, you kill it, because its definition, it's finished there. It's not an object. A person has a personal growth, so you still still enjoy this person for the rest of your life if you understand this principle, and then the attraction is there all the time. But then the attraction finish when you possess 100%.
True love, which is like unconditional.
Okay.
Unconditional.
Yeah.
And you're with your mate and it's unconditional. And I can definitely attest to it by the relationship of my sister and her husband. Sweethearts since 17, they still text each other. They're 54. They still text each other if they're going to the store or whatever and they're not together, and they're just always in love.
They are intelligent.
Always in
They
love.
leave their space.
No, they're always together. But I'm
Yeah,
saying
but-
even if she goes to the store and he's not there, then they
But
have
they
to-
leave the space. Don't control. Don't
Yeah.
be jealous. Don't put negative things.
Isn't that called codependency?
Maybe it is. I don't know. They look very happy and they've been in love
I mean,
for 40 years or 30 something years.
I believe that unconditional love, it's just a word, because even the mother love her kids if the kids behave the way that she want. Otherwise, she gonna reproach them. So it's
Love
not.
is so many different facets.
Yeah,
Doesn't mean-
because they say, oh, because I do that because I love them, but maybe they want to have their life experience in a different way, so they want to change things. So we don't get upset, we don't fight with the person, like you don't fight with your husband, you fight with the behavior of your husband.
Correct.
You may love the person, but you don't like the behavior, you don't like the principle. It's the logical mind that is, and there's unconditional love. It's not possible, because there are conditions in love. Because if I love you and I don't respect you, I don't fulfill your needs, you're not gonna love me. We are made up of needs too. So love is something that go beyond needs, but it's not unconditional. There are conditions, I think.
So also to come back to your to the things you just said before, was the possession, the 70%, 30%. So how can you deal with the desire? How can you just live with it? Like, you will always not feel fulfilled with it. The 30% will always be in the back of your head, will always be here. Like, how do you deal with this, with the desire, the fact that you don't have it, but you want it? So it's going to be itchy inside of you.
Okay, do you mean with myself or with others?
With others.
With others. So if I want you to desire something, I don't have to give you what you want. I use this word, penalizing you. Okay, I bring you a rose today and you are happy because you got a rose. And I bring you a rose tomorrow and you are happy. And maybe after tomorrow you're waiting for the third rose and I'm not bringing it to you. Because if I keep bringing a rose every day, you get, yeah, fed up. So this is the magic of life, keeping the desire. Because in the unconscious mind, there is not the right and the wrong. There's just the intensity. There's just the quantity. How much do you want? If I satisfy your thirst, all of it, you don't ask for any more water. But if I satisfy 70% of your thirst, you are okay, you can deal with it, and you may want some more. And that's go with sexuality, and that go with relationship, and that go with everything. Of course, once in a while you can satisfy 100%, but not as a everyday basis.
Okay. So do you think this is what happens with everything in our society as well? Like talking about like selling products and the TV shows and whatever. Do you think they know what they're doing regarding of this?
Of course, because they create the good and they create the desire. Then you identify, that's a symbol, I say, that you identify in that good what you need and you don't have it. Then you want it. As soon as you want it, they change it, they create something else. And then you want something else. You're like an idiot. They're running for getting your happiness, and you think the happiness is within goods, within material stuff. But real happiness is not into the material stuff. Real happiness is inside of us, and it's an energetic thing. It's feeling secure, feeling loved. It's having variety. It's the fundamental needs. Feeling important. This is what makes you happy, not having a new car or a new TV or a new, okay, that's a condition. People think, I'm a shy person. If I shy, I become red. I see a woman and then I like the woman and I become red. My shyness block my emotion and then I don't move, I don't do anything. So what do? I see a spot in TV that sell the perfume and they say, this perfume for the man who never have to ask. Right, I buy this perfume, I buy a new car, and then when I see this woman, I'm a shy man, but with smells, and I have a new car. It doesn't do anything in my emotivity. Doesn't change my emotivity. It just, do you understand what I mean?
Yes, I do understand.
It's all fake, though. All of this is fake. It's just what we believe that will bring us the confidence to do ABC. So ultimately, our true happiness lies within, and like you can see how beautiful children are in their essence, where they're just content playing with leaves outside or with a rock. And it's just because they are pure beings just experiencing life as it is without having to have these stimulations or confidence tactics that will make them feel a certain way. They just are. So coming back to our essence and purity, how do we decondition all of this of what we believe is to be true, that happiness lies within a person, a thing, a circumstance? How is it to come back into our full essence of being childlike? I mean, is there a hypnosis that you can utilize?
Through hypnosis, you get back to the understanding of what you were with before you had this negative perception, because there are the negative feelings that hypnotize you. So we have to de-hypnotize the people and get them back to their original state. Otherwise, they're gonna grow up like these blockages and they're going to compensate in life. If they feel they are unworthy or they value nothing, they will work hard to have a big car, to have a big house, to have a perception that they're worth. But if I take out all the goods, they are unworthy again. They're still there. They're never satisfied. They are all compensation. There is I call the verse and the inverse of the same things. If somebody feels that needs a lot of money to be happy, that means they are poor. If you have money, you don't want money. You only want money if you don't have money. If you're free, you don't want freedom. I say freedom only exists in slavery. If you, whatever you are, you don't want what you are. You want what you are not. You want to achieve something else. But in order for you to be and to be able to conquer the things in life, you must feel free. And you must be loved, and you can express. The axioma we say in the other podcast, it was, you must feel free to conquer your dreams in peace with your mind. And your mind is your woman or man side. It's not the female and the male, not the unconscious mind. It's the logical mind. And we have to deal with the logical mind. That's the human problem. The problem of humans is the logical mind. Because the animals, they don't have this, and they express the way they are free all the time, they can love, they have nothing. They never make a mistake, they do whatever they want as they feel. And you don't see them ill or sick, you see them happy. But humans, they have to deal with the logical mind. So this is a system that allows you to recognize yourself as a living beings, and comparing with the culture, with your logical mind, and then you can change your logical mind. You can change your value, you can change your principle, you can change your beliefs, but you cannot change yourself. So you can change all this and modify in order for you to be able to express, to conquer, and to do whatever you want in society.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Glauco, for taking the time.
Thank you.
Thank you for both of you, actually, and this amazing knowledge that we are sharing to the world. So, good conclusion for this podcast. Let's stay in touch with our inner child and this happy child that we all are. Yes. Thank you for listening to our podcast, and see you in another episode. Bye.
Blessings.
We have reached the end of today's episode. Thank you again for listening. Feel free to subscribe to our channels. You can find us on our website, themethodeu.com, on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Telegram. Stay tuned for upcoming workshops, online events, teaching, and much more. See you next time.